Wire is brought to you by Resora. Elevate your real estate marketing with Resora. Effortlessly design, manage, and automate stunning email and social campaigns with our intuitive platform built for real estate. Say goodbye to complex marketing. Get started with your free account today at Resora.com. And by Notebook LM by Google. Unlock the power of your information with Notebook LM. Upload your documents and instantly access an expert AI that answers your questions, summarizes key points, and generates insights, all based on your specific sources. Become a knowledge master with Notebook LM. Try it now at notebooklm.google.
Wow, it's incredible how much real estate news comes out each week, right? It seems like every time I check the news, there's another headline about agents moving companies or a crazy new technology.
You aren't kidding.
But, rather than just trying to keep up with all that noise today, we're going to do a deep dive to try to figure out what's really going on.
And what it means for you, the listener.
Exactly. So let's just jump right in. Last week, XP Realty added almost 200 agents in Miami and Utah.
Yeah, those weren't just any agents, though. One Path Realty in Miami, led by Abel Gilbert, was already closing nearly $1.8 billion in sales.
Wow.
And Spring Bengson's Utah Life Real Estate Group hit $316 million in 2024. So we're talking about some real high performers.
That's amazing. So what's the appeal? Why are these rockstar teams choosing XP?
Well, Abel Gilbert said something really interesting.
Oh.
He said that XP empowers their agents to build not just successful careers, but lasting legacies.
That's a powerful statement. It seems like it's more than just money or tech that's drawing them in.
Definitely. It's about creating an environment where agents feel valued and supported, a place where they can grow and really make a difference.
I like that. It really makes you think, what kind of legacy is your brokerage building? Are you giving your agents the tools and the vision they need to create something that will last, something to be proud of?
Something to think about, for sure. Now, while XP is all about bringing agents onto their single platform, the Real Brokerage is doing things a little differently.
Oh, how so?
They just hit a major milestone, 25,000 agents.
Wow.
And get this, they've been adding nearly 1,000 agents per month for the past year.
That's some serious growth. But how are they doing it?
It's really interesting. They're actually attracting entire brokerages and teams, but allowing them to keep their own branding. It's more of a federated model.
So it's like a network of independent brokerages all coming together under the Real umbrella.
Exactly.
That could be really appealing for teams who have built a strong local presence and want to hold on to their identity while still tapping into Real's technology, training, and resources.
That's the idea.
Really makes you think about which growth model makes more sense for your brokerage, right? What are the pros and cons of each approach?
Definitely a lot to consider.
For sure. So we've talked about growth, but what about the luxury market? Any interesting developments there?
Actually, yes. Engel Volkers Gestalt Group just brought on Peyton Stu as their new Bay Area president.
Peyton Stu, huh? What's his background?
Well, he was a founding member of Christie's International Real Estate in the Bay Area, and he has over 20 years of experience in the luxury market.
So he knows his stuff.
Oh, yeah. This move tells me that Engel Volkers is getting serious about expanding in Northern California and wants someone at the helm who really understands the luxury client.
Interesting. And speaking of luxury, the agency is continuing to expand in Florida. They just opened their 6th office in the state at the Fandiston Golf and Beach Resort in Miramar Beach.
And they picked Sarah Becknell to lead it.
Okay, damn.
Well, she's got deep roots in that resort community and a proven track record of success.
It seems like both of these appointments, Stee and Becknell, highlight the importance of not just experience, but also relationships.
It's a good point. Luxury is more than just a price point, right?
Right.
It's about understanding a certain lifestyle, building those connections, and creating a truly exceptional client experience.
So the question for you is, how are you defining luxury at your brokerage? Are you attracting agents who can deliver that high-touch, personalized service that high-end clients expect?
Now, we've talked about the U.S., but what about the international market?
Yes. The world is getting smaller and smaller all the time. Any interesting moves happening globally?
Christie's just partnered with Mexico Real Estate Group to expand into the Yucatan Peninsula.
Interesting. Why the Yucatan?
It's a hot spot right now. They're seeing a huge influx of international buyers, mostly from the U.S. and Canada.
And I bet those big infrastructure projects like the Maya train and the new international airport are helping to fuel that growth.
For sure.
I read that Jason Waller, the CEO of Mexico Real Estate Group, said that partnering with Christie's will allow them to leverage their brand recognition to really showcase their expertise in luxury real estate in the region. Pretty smart strategy, huh?
Yeah, it is.
It's a great example of how to tap into a specific market and attract those high-end buyers. So this brings up a question for you. Could your brokerage benefit from international partnerships? How can you attract buyers from outside your usual area? It might be easier than you think.
Never thought about it that way. Now, shifting gears for a moment, let's talk about what's happening inside brokerages. Mark Willis returned to Keller Williams as CEO in late 2023.
Yeah, and after just 14 months, he stepped down to become their chief leadership officer. It's been a bit of a whirlwind over there at KW. What's with all the changes? First Willis returns, then Mark King leaves, then layoffs, and now this.
It seems like they're really trying to find their footing in the shifting market.
You think?
Yeah. And Willis's new role focusing on training and development suggests that they are really trying to double down on supporting their agents.
It makes sense. When the market gets tough, you've got to make sure your agents have the skills and knowledge they need to succeed. So how about you? How are you investing in your agents' development? Are you providing them with the kind of training, mentorship, and resources they need to not just survive, but thrive in this market?
It's a great reminder that even with all the external factors impacting the market, you can still make a difference by focusing on your internal culture and really supporting your team.
So true. And speaking of support, there's this new tool that's been making waves. Luxury Presence just launched a platform to help brokerages create and manage private listing networks.
Oh yeah, that's interesting timing, isn't it? All this is happening as the debate around NAR's Clear Cooperation Policy, or CCP, is really heating up.
Right. Some people are saying it needs to be repealed. They're saying it's anti-competitive and takes away options from sellers.
Yeah. Others are defending it, arguing that it promotes transparency and a level playing field for buyers.
It's a tough one.
Luxury Presence seems to be staying out of that fight, though. Their CEO, Malte Kramer, said they are simply providing the tools for brokerages to succeed in any scenario.
Smart move. But for you, the listener, it's worth thinking about how your brokerage would be impacted if the CCP is repealed.
Exactly.
And where do you stand on these private listing networks? Do they have a place in your business strategy? This whole debate could really change how you do business, so it's worth giving it some serious thought.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so we talked about private networks, but let's zoom out and look at the bigger tech trends. RE/MAX just appointed Travis Saxton as their new Executive Vice President of Strategy.
Interesting choice.
Right. Well, Saxton comes from T360, and he's got deep experience in real estate tech, digital marketing, and management consulting. It sounds like RE/MAX is serious about investing in tech to boost their growth.
They definitely are.
It really makes you think. We see brokerages investing in private listing networks, and then we see a major player like RE/MAX bringing in a tech expert. It all points to the same thing.
Technology is becoming the key differentiator in today's real estate world.
I couldn't agree more. So tell me, are you keeping up with the latest tech trends? What tools and platforms are going to be essential for your brokerage to succeed, not just in the next year, but in the next 5-10 years?
What a great question. It's important to remember, though, that technology is only one part of the equation.
It's true.
You also need the training, the adoption, the integration. It's about empowering your agents to actually use those tools effectively.
So true. Okay, let's take a look at the actual market now. RE/MAX just released their December 2024 housing market report, and it showed a 13.3% increase in home sales year over year.
That sounds pretty good.
It does, doesn't it?
But we have to keep in mind that inventory is still really low, and that's a big factor in those rising sales numbers.
Yeah, the report did mention a 22% increase in homes for sale compared to December 2023, though.
Oh, that's good news, right? For buyers who've been struggling with limited choices.
Right. It looks like we are starting to see a slow but steady increase in inventory, which could mean things might start to ease up a bit for buyers.
Definitely good news. Now, the report also pointed out some regional variations in sales and new listings.
Oh, like what?
Well, Fayetteville, Denver, Seattle, San Diego, and Providence all had very strong sales increases.
Interesting.
And when it comes to new listings, the biggest jumps were in Burlington, Manchester, Las Vegas, Honolulu, and Fayetteville.
Wow, Fayetteville again. They're really on a roll.
It seems like it. You know, RE/MAX CEO Eric Carlson had a good take on the current state of the market. He said affordability is still a major challenge for a lot of buyers, but the demand is still very strong.
Yeah, and that brings us to the topic that's on everyone's mind. Interest rates. After climbing for 5 weeks straight, they finally dipped a little.
A bit of relief.
Well, maybe.
Freddie Mac data shows that the average 30-year fixed rate dropped to 6.96% from 7.04%, and the 15-year fixed rate fell to 6.16% from 6.27%.
It's not a huge drop, but it's a step in the right direction, right?
Well, let's not get too excited yet.
True.
Interest rates can be really volatile. Remember how much they swung back and forth last year?
I do. From 6.09% all the way up to 7.79%.
Exactly. So we have to be cautious about reading too much into any short-term fluctuations.
So the big question is, will this dip continue? Are rates finally starting to stabilize? Or are we in for more ups and downs?
Nah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. And you know what? We're going to dig deeper into interest rate predictions and what they mean for you, the listener, later in the show. But first, we need to talk about something that's been causing a lot of controversy in the real estate world and could have huge implications for the industry.
What's that?
You remember those private listing networks we talked about earlier?
No.
Well, it turns out they are at the heart of a much bigger debate that's brewing, something that some are calling a potential earthquake that could reshape the entire industry as we know it.
Wow. Sounds dramatic.
It is. It all centers around the National Association of Realtors, NAR, and their controversial Clear Cooperation Policy, also known as the CCP.
Ah, the CCP. We touched on it earlier, but it seems like the debate is really heating up.
It is. So for those who haven't been following all the drama, can you give us a quick overview? What exactly is the CCP and why is it stirring up so much controversy?
Sure. In a nutshell, the CCP requires that agents submit their listings to the MLS within 1 day of marketing them publicly.
So no more pocket listings.
Right. The idea is to make sure that all buyers have access to the same information and a fair chance to see all the available properties.
That sounds good in theory.
Yeah, in theory. But there are people who are really pushing back against the CCP.
Oh, why is that?
Well, they say it infringes on the seller's right to choose how to market their property. They say it forces them to blast their listing out to the whole world, which could compromise their privacy and maybe even their negotiating power.
So it's all about control, really.
In a way, yeah. It's about who has control over the information and how that information is shared.
So if the CCP is repealed or even significantly changed, what could that mean for the industry?
Well, some are predicting that private listing networks would explode, creating a kind of shadow market for high-end properties.
Wow, that's a bit scary, isn't it?
It could be. Imagine a world where buyers have to jump through all sorts of hoops and access multiple exclusive platforms just to see all the inventory that's out there.
It would definitely make things more complicated.
Yeah, and it could make it even harder for some buyers, especially those who are not well connected or working with agents who have access to these private networks.
So it could really exacerbate the inequalities that already exist.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, those who are pushing for the CCP to be repealed argue that it would encourage competition, leading to better service and lower fees for consumers.
That's their argument.
So it's not a clear-cut issue, is it?
No, it's definitely not. There are valid points on both sides, and the outcome of this debate could have a massive impact on the future of real estate.
A lot to think about. So where do you see all this heading, and what should broker owners be doing right now to prepare for whatever comes next?
Honestly, it's hard to say for sure what the future holds. This whole debate is still unfolding, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. But one thing is certain, broker owners need to stay informed, be adaptable, and really be ready to think outside the box because this could change everything.
Words of wisdom. We'll definitely keep our eyes on this story and keep you updated as things develop. But for now, let's dive into some hard data and see what the numbers are telling us. RE/MAX also just released their December 2024 housing market report, and it's got some interesting findings.
Sounds good. So there are some interesting regional differences in the report, too.
Oh, like what?
For example, Fayetteville, Denver, Seattle, San Diego, and Providence all had really big jumps in sales. Meanwhile, new listings saw the biggest increases in Burlington, Manchester, Las Vegas, Honolulu, and Fayetteville again.
So Fayetteville is really hot right now.
It seems like it, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But even with those positive sales figures, we can't forget that a lot of buyers are struggling with how expensive it is to buy a home these days.
You're absolutely right.
Like, how do we make housing more affordable?
It's a tough question. And RE/MAX's CEO, Eric Carlson, basically said the same thing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said, affordability remains a challenge for many buyers, but demand persists.
So true.
It's a complex situation
It really is.
with lots of different factors at play.
Definitely. And speaking of lots of factors, let's talk more about those interest rate predictions for February and beyond.
Okay.
We saw that little dip recently, but what does it actually mean? Are rates finally starting to stabilize, or are we in for more of that roller coaster ride?
Well, predicting interest rates is sort of like, I don't know, trying to predict the weather. You know, so many things can impact them. But looking at the current economic indicators and what the experts are saying, it's probably unlikely that we are going to see any huge drops anytime soon.
So no immediate relief for buyers hoping for those lower mortgage rates.
Probably not. But it's important to remember that even though they've gone up, rates are still relatively low compared to, historical averages.
That's a good point.
And even those small changes can have a big impact on affordability.
Yeah, sure.
So buyers need to stay informed, work closely with their lenders, and really explore every option.
Great advice. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about something else that's been making a lot of noise in the industry.
iBuyers.
iBuyers.
Yeah, those companies that use technology to make these super fast cash offers on homes.
Ah, yes.
They've gotten really popular in recent years, especially in markets with low inventory and lots of eager sellers.
Right.
But there's been a lot of talk about how they are affecting the traditional way of doing real estate.
Uh-huh.
Some people say they're disrupting the market and cutting agents out of the loop completely.
Yeah. While others say they're just offering sellers another choice and can actually work with agents.
That's interesting.
It really is. It's still a bit early to say for sure what kind of long-term impact iBuyers will have on the industry. But it's something that every broker owner needs to pay attention to.
Absolutely.
It could really change your business.
So how can broker owners adapt to this, new landscape?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Should we try to work with iBuyers, compete with them, or is there some other way to coexist?
Yeah, what's the right move?
It's tough to say. There's really no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
It depends on your specific market, your business model, and your goals.
You really have to figure out what works best for you.
Exactly. But the important thing is to stay informed about what iBuyers are doing and be ready to change your strategy if you need to.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, let's go back to that tech talk for a minute. We've talked about how brokerages are investing heavily in technology to stay competitive. But it's not just about having the latest gadgets and gizmos. It's about knowing how to use them.
You're right. You need to be able to actually use them effectively.
Exactly. And that means making sure that your agents are trained and comfortable using those tools so they can really wow their clients.
It's not just about having the tech. It's about using it to provide the best service possible.
So broker owners really need to focus on training and development to make sure their agents are tech savvy and can use these new tools to their full potential.
Definitely, especially since technology is constantly changing. You need to keep up with the latest trends and make sure your team is up to date.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, let's talk about another big trend that's gaining momentum. Sustainability in real estate.
Ah, yes, sustainability.
It's becoming increasingly important to consumers, right?
It is. They're much more aware of their environmental impact now than they used to be.
Definitely. And they're looking for homes that are energy efficient, eco-friendly, and built with sustainable materials.
It's about making responsible choices.
So how can brokerages and agents tap into this growing interest in sustainable housing?
Well, there are a few things they can do.
Like what?
For starters, agents can really learn about all the different green building practices and certifications.
Good idea.
They can highlight properties that have sustainable features, and brokerages can promote their commitment to sustainability through their marketing and branding.
So it's not just about appealing to buyers who are eco-conscious, it's also about doing the right thing for the planet.
Absolutely.
Sustainability is a win-win, it's good for the environment, and it's good for business.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's get down to brass tacks and talk about something that is always on every broker owner's mind. Profitability.
The bottom line.
Exactly. How can you make sure your brokerage is financially healthy and thriving in today's ultra-competitive market?
Well, there are several key factors to consider. One of the most important things is managing your expenses effectively, keeping an eye on everything from office rent to marketing costs to those technology subscriptions we talked about.
Yeah, it's easy for those costs to creep up on you.
It is.
It's also crucial to generate revenue, which means attracting and keeping those top-performing agents. We talked about how XP and the Real Brokerage are drawing agents in with their different approaches, but there are a lot of other things brokerages can do too.
Absolutely.
What?
Well, you need to provide excellent training and support.
Right.
foster a positive work environment, and offer compensation packages that are competitive.
Makes sense.
It's also important to think about diversifying your revenue streams.
Oh, how so?
You could offer additional services like mortgage or title insurance.
Oh, good idea.
Or even explore new business models, things like property management or maybe even investment consulting.
I like it. Thinking outside the box.
Exactly. The key is to be creative and always look for new ways to add value for your clients and generate more income.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, now let's shift our focus to leadership for a bit.
Leadership.
Yes. What kind of qualities do you think are essential for a broker owner to be an effective leader in today's market?
Well, for starters, you need a strong vision.
Vision.
Yeah, you need to be able to see the big picture, anticipate those trends, and really set a clear path for the future of your brokerage.
Love it. So what else?
Well, you also have to be adaptable, willing to change with the market because the real estate industry is always evolving. It's not static.
That's for sure. We've seen a lot of change just in the past few years.
Exactly. So leaders need to be able to change their strategies and adapt as needed.
Okay, so vision and adaptability. What else?
Communication is super important too.
Oh yeah, why is that?
Well, you need to be able to effectively communicate your vision, your goals, and your expectations to your team.
Make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly.
And you need to be able to inspire and motivate your agents to do their best work.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It really all boils down to creating a positive and supportive environment, a place where your agents can learn and grow and really thrive.
Got it.
Now, before we move on, let's talk about another important trend that's shaping the real estate world.
What's that?
Data and analytics.
Ah, yes. The power of data.
Exactly. We live in a data-driven world, which means that brokerages have access to mountains of information that can help them make smarter decisions.
Like market trends, pricing data, consumer insights.
All sorts of valuable stuff.
And if brokerages can learn how to use that data effectively, they can really gain a big advantage over their competition.
I see your point. So how can broker owners make the most of all this data?
First, you need to invest in the right technology and tools to collect and analyze all that data.
Makes sense.
And just as important, you need a team that knows how to understand and apply those insights.
So it's not just about having the data, it's about knowing how to use it to make your business better.
You got it.
Now, before we wrap up this segment, I want to leave you with something to think about. What are you doing to ensure that your brokerage is positioned to succeed? Not just today, but in the years to come.
It's a question every broker owner should ask themselves.
Absolutely. The real estate industry is constantly changing, and to be successful, you need to be proactive, adaptable, and always thinking about the future.
Couldn't agree more.
So take some time to reflect on your current strategy and see if there are any areas where you can improve and make a plan to stay ahead of the game.
Great advice.
Okay, let's dive into something totally different now, something that's been generating a lot of buzz lately. The metaverse.
The metaverse.
Yes, that virtual world where you can do all sorts of things, interact with people, play games, go to events, even buy and sell virtual real estate.
Interesting.
It's still early days, but some people think it has the potential to revolutionize the way we think about property and ownership.
Like a whole new world of real estate.
Exactly. And believe it or not, there are already some real estate companies experimenting with virtual property sales and development in the metaverse.
Wow, they're really ahead of the curve.
Yeah, they are. It may sound crazy, like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but technology is moving so fast that what seems impossible today could be reality tomorrow.
I guess we have to be ready for anything.
That's the spirit. It's important to stay on top of these emerging trends and be open to all the new possibilities that are coming our way.
So how does this, metaverse thing actually impact real estate in the real world?
Yeah, that's a great question. It creates both opportunities and challenges for broker owners and agents.
Oh, like what?
Well, think about it. It opens up a whole new market.
Right.
Agents could specialize in selling virtual property. They could advise clients on virtual land investments, or even work with developers who are building virtual communities.
Wow, that's really interesting. It's like a whole new frontier for real estate professionals.
Exactly. But it also means that we need to change the way we think about real estate and be willing to learn about all these new technologies and concepts.
It's a big
It is. Agents will need to really immerse themselves in the metaverse, understand how it works and how to navigate this new virtual world.
So it's going to be a learning curve for everyone.
Oh, for sure. But for those who are willing to embrace this new technology, the rewards could be huge.
So the metaverse is still evolving, but it Seems like it has the potential to really shake things up in the real estate industry.
No doubt about it. So for all the broker owners and agents listening, here's a question to ponder. How are you going to position yourself and your business to thrive in this new era of virtual real estate? Will you be an early adopter, a cautious observer, or somewhere in between? The decisions you make today could have a huge impact on your future success.
It's amazing to think that one day buying and selling real estate in the virtual world could be just as common as doing it in the real world.
I know, right? It's mind-blowing. Like we could be closing deals on virtual mansions and beachfront properties, all from the comfort of our, well, real-world homes.
It sounds like something out of a movie.
Right. But it's already happening. There are companies out there building entire virtual neighborhoods, hosting virtual open houses, and even auctioning off virtual land.
Wow. So how does this impact, real estate agents and broker owners in the real world?
That's the big question, isn't it? Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
How so?
On the one hand, it opens up a whole new market, a whole new world of opportunities for real estate professionals.
I see what you mean.
Think about it. Agents could specialize in virtual property sales. They could become experts in virtual land investments or even help developers create these immersive virtual communities.
So it's like a whole new specialization within real estate.
Exactly. It's like the Wild West of real estate all over again.
But it also means that agents and brokers need to learn a whole new set of skills, right? Like how to navigate this virtual world and understand how it all works.
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be a steep learning curve for sure.
So it's going to be a challenge.
It will be, but for those who are willing to put in the time and effort, the payoff could be huge.
High risk, high reward.
Exactly. The metaverse is changing so fast, who knows what it will look like in a few years.
It's really exciting.
It is. So to all the broker owners and agents out there, here's my question for you. How are you going to adapt to this new era of virtual real estate? Will you jump in head first or wait and see how things shake out? The choices you make today could really shape your future success.
No pressure. So as we wrap up this deep dive into all things real estate, let's quickly go over some of the key takeaways.
Okay, sounds good.
We talked about some major shifts happening in the industry, like those huge agent moves we saw with eXp Realty and the Real Brokerage.
Right, and we can't forget about that whole debate around NR's clear cooperation policy. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that.
Definitely. And of course, we talked about the rise of iBuyers and how technology and data are becoming more and more crucial for success in real estate.
Oh, and who could forget about the metaverse? It's like stepping into a whole new dimension.
I know, crazy, right? But through all of that, there's one theme that kept coming up over and over again: adaptability.
So true. The real estate industry is constantly evolving.
It is. If you're not willing to change and grow, you're going to get left behind.
Words of wisdom. So to all the broker owners and agents out there, remember to stay informed, be proactive, and never stop learning.
Because the future of real estate is bright, but it belongs to those who are ready to embrace it.
That's a great way to put it. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the latest real estate news and trends.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it valuable, and we encourage you to keep digging deeper into these topics and think about how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Remember, knowledge is power, and in this industry, the more you know, the better.
Couldn't do more. Until next time, we wish you all the best in your real estate journey.
Hey there, thanks for tuning into The Wire. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep bringing you the latest in real estate, visit us at thewire.fm and click the Support the Wire button in the main navigation. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you. The Wire has been brought to you by Resora. Elevate your real estate marketing with Resora. Effortlessly design, manage, and automate stunning email and social campaigns with our intuitive platform built for real estate. Say goodbye to complex marketing. Get started with your free account today at resora.com. And by Notebook LM by Google. Unlock the power of your information with Notebook LM. Upload your documents and instantly access an expert AI that answers your questions, summarizes key points, and generates insights, all based on your specific sources. Become a knowledge master with Notebook LM. Try it now at notebooklm.google.